Shalom everyone, and welcome to A Time to Reflect with Ayaba Jean. So I'm going to be sharing some notes that I wrote down a while back, and when I found them, I was like, wow, this is still just as relevant today as when I wrote them, whenever it was that I wrote them. Okay, and at the top of the page it says we have to be excellent decision makers. And I was like, okay, what was going on at the time that I wrote these notes? And then I looked down, and the question says, why are you in the situation that you are in? And then I had to think back, and I was like, I remember now. And when I reflected back and I thought back to that time in my life, you know, I was in dire straits and I was, praying and, asking the Most High Yah, how did I get here? Why is my life like this? What is going on? And I wrote down what he said to me, through the set apart spirit, or the Ruach HaKodesh. He said, you are in the situation that you're in because of the lack of discipline, the lack of self-control, the lack of knowledge, and the circumstances of life. And I was like, huh? And at the time, we were dealing with, debt and, money issues and all of these types of things. And, I was just like, how did we get here? How do we get out of this? How do we get out of this situation? How did we get here? How did we get out? I don't know what to do. I'm tired of being in this situation. And this is what the Most High Yah told me. And I wrote it down. I wrote it down. And, he began to expound upon what he meant when he said, lack of discipline, lack of self-control, lack of knowledge in the circumstances of life. And he told me, you had a lack of discipline when you needed to be disciplined in how you manage your finances. You had a lack of self-control. There were times that you should have told yourself no, but you bought that thing anyway. And then you had a lack of knowledge. You didn't have enough knowledge about finances and how you were supposed to deal with them and manage them. So when the circumstances of life happened, you crumbled beneath the pressure. You had, you had nowhere to go but down because of the fact that you weren't disciplined, you didn't walk in self-control, you're destroyed because of a lack of knowledge. And so now when the circumstances of life happen, unemployment, sickness was happening, within our family, so forth and so on, that's how we ended up in the situation that we were in at that time. So I wrote that down. I had written that down on a piece of paper. I shared it with my husband at that time, and I always kept it in my wallet. I think I wrote it down and put it in several different places to always remind me of what the Most High Yah shared with me when I asked him, how did I end up in this situation? And it has always, stuck with me. And so I was sharing this with my sons. You know, they were older. I believe this was probably maybe a year ago, a couple of years ago, and they're young adults now. So they were adults when I was sharing this with them, but this was at the top of my notes, you know, and I was teaching them about becoming excellent decision makers. Okay, and I was sharing with them those things that the Most High Yah shared with me. And then I asked them this question: why are you not achieving your goals and or being successful in your life? And even now, I ask myself that question: what goals haven't I achieved? What areas am I not being successful, or at least reaching to where I really want to be? Why not? You can ask yourself that question. You know, why are you not reaching your goals? You know, why are you not being as successful as you could be? And that was a question I was asking myself. That was a question that I was asking my sons. And one of the answers was lack of consistency continuously over time. You know, I talked about that in one of my recent videos about the word consistent. And, you know, that lack of consistency will bring you to a place where you really don't want to be. And I have been there and am there right now when I look at different areas of my life, when I reflect on where I am. I have to really be honest, you know. Inconsistency brings forth negative outcomes. When you don't do what you're supposed to be doing consistently over time, the results, the outcomes are usually not positive ones. They're usually negative ones. Consistent, continuous negative outcomes will result in low self-esteem, low self-image, low self-worth, and low self-confidence. You end up on a cycle that keeps you from functioning at the highest level in your life. Because just think about it. When you keep having negative outcomes, what happens? You start to think that, you know, you're not good enough. You start to see yourself in a negative way. You don't think you're worth it. You start losing confidence in yourself and in your ability to reach your goals, to succeed, to grow spiritually, all of those things. And so when I really take the time out to think about that, I've gone through that. You may be going through that, or maybe you've gone through that in the past, where, you know, you look at your life and you're like, I'm not where I'm, you know, where I really want to be. You know, I don't like where I'm at. You know, and then you really got to ask yourself, before you made those decisions that you made, you know, did you pray and ask the Most High Yah what He wanted you to do in that particular situation and in that particular area of your life? All of us are where we are today because of the decisions that we made in our yesterdays. It's just the way it is. We're going to have some type of outcome in our lives tomorrow, a week from now, 5 minutes from now, because of the decision that we're making right now, or that we made earlier today, or that we made yesterday. And so we have to learn to become excellent decision makers. We really, really do. We have to learn to pray and seek the face of the Most High Yah and acknowledge Him in all of our ways so that He can direct our paths. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Okay? Ask yourself this question. Have I been a lazy decision maker? I have to ask myself that question. Ask yourself that question. You know, sometimes before you make a decision, sometimes you have to do some research. You have to do your homework. Sometimes you have to pray about it and wait on the Most High Yah for the answer. Sometimes you have to get wise counsel from some people. And that requires some work, okay? That requires you and I to do something. And I have to submit to you today that sometimes in my life I have been a lazy decision maker. I didn't do my homework. I didn't do my research. I didn't do what I needed to do so that I could make an informed decision. So I was a lazy decision maker. And that's not being an excellent decision maker. Is the decision that I'm about to make going to interfere, distract, cause problems, or pull me away from my relationship, first of all, with the Most High Yah? And I had to start learning to ask myself that question. I didn't always do this. And sometimes I still don't always do it. And I have to repent and ask for forgiveness. Because if I'm acknowledging the Most High Yah in all of my ways, not some, but all of my ways, so that He can direct my paths, then I'm going to have to think about what I'm getting ready to do. Is it going to interfere, distract, cause problems, or pull me away from my relationship with the Most High Yah? And if I make my decisions, you know, with those parameters around my decision making, there are going to be a lot of things that I'm not going to say. There's certain things that I'm not going to allow myself to think about. There are certain places that I'm just not going to go. There are certain activities that I'm not going to participate in. And there are certain people that I am not going to hang around with or associate with closely. Okay? My spouse is the decision that I'm going to make or I'm about to make. Is it going to interfere, distract, cause problems, or pull me away from my relationship with my spouse? Because there are many people out here in this day and time that are making decisions that is pulling them away from their spouse and their covenant marriage relationship. Okay? So they're making the wrong decisions. If you're a child, you're a minor, you're still living at home with your parents, okay? Is the decision that you're about to make, okay, going to interfere, distract, cause problems, or pull you away from your relationship with your parents? Okay? You don't have a spouse yet. Okay? You're a child, or you're a teenager, okay? Or an adolescent, and you're living at home with your parents, but you're thinking about making a decision that is not only going to put you on the wrong side of your parents, but is also going to pull you away, distract you from, interfere, and cause problems with your relationship with the Most High Yah. You can become an excellent decision maker very early in your life. You don't have to wait until you're 20, 30, 40 years old before you become an excellent decision maker. The earlier you become an excellent decision maker, the better off you are going to be in your life. You are going to avoid a lot of the pitfalls and the destruction that you could encounter by making poor choices and bad decisions that can lead you down a path to sin and wickedness and iniquity, which ultimately leads you to death and destruction. Okay? So this is very, very important for anybody at any age to be an excellent decision maker. The same things if you have siblings. We should be, as a family, we should look out for one another. Are you making a decision that's going to really tear up your relationship with your siblings? Are you going to make a decision that down the line, it's going to pull you and your brother or your sister apart from one another because of a decision that you're about to make? Ask yourself that question. Is the decision that you are about to make going to give someone else unwanted power or authority over your life? Ask yourself that question. Is the decision that you are about to make going to give someone else unwanted power or authority over your life? Now just think about that. I have made decisions, in the past where I have made a decision and somebody else gained unwanted for me, power and authority over my life because of a decision that I made. Case in point, whether you're a teenager, okay, or whether you're an adult, if you go to a party where there is drugs and alcohol, and you take a drink of that alcohol, whether you're a teenager or whether you're an adult, and somebody that gave you the drink put some type of pill in that drink, and you drink it, you go to that party and you drink it, you accept the drink, and they've slipped something in there. They used to call it, somebody slipped you a Mickey. That's what they used to call it back in the day. But you drink it, guess what? you have given someone else unwanted power and authority over your life. Because once you drink that alcoholic drink and it has that pill in it that makes you sleepy, unconscious, and you don't know what is happening after the point that you become unconscious, then that person or those people can do whatever they want to you, and there's nothing that you consciously are able to do about it. That's giving somebody unwanted power or authority over your life because of a decision that you have made. Now, you might be thinking, well, you know, that's extreme. Guess what? That type of decision happens all the time, unfortunately, and all too often. And so many people's lives have been wrecked from that type of decision making. And they're dealing with the effects of that type of decision making right now in their lives to this day. So it may not be, you know, something like that. You may make the decision to, you know, walk out into the street and you don't look both ways. And a car comes and hits you. All right? You're like, I didn't want this to happen to me. You know, I didn't want to end up getting hit by a car. You know, and now you're in a situation that you don't want to be in. All because you didn't take the time out to stop, look both ways. You just ran out into the street. Okay? And so now the ball that's rolling in your life is going in the direction that you don't want it to go in. Okay? Think about the decisions that you're making. Are the decisions that you are making now robbing you of positive progress and opportunities that you could have in your future? Think about it. What type of decisions are you making? And I have to say this, you have to make decisions that line up with the commandments of Yah and with His will and His purpose and His destiny for your life. You have to learn how to make decisions that bring you to a place of obedience to Him and in Him. Because when you don't make decisions in that way, then you are robbing yourself of positive progress, i.e., being blessed by the Most High Yah. And being able to, you know, take advantage of any doors of opportunity that He would open for you as a result of you making the decision to be obedient to Him. So, you know, we have to be excellent decision makers. Why are you in the situation that you are in? Why aren't you achieving your goals or being successful in different areas of your life? Why are you not reaching your Yah-given potential in your life? Have you been a lazy decision maker? And is the decision that you're about to make going to interfere, distract, cause problems, or pull you away from your relationship with the Most High Yah, with your spouse, if you're married, if you're a child, from your parents, and all of us are children and have parents if your parents are living, okay? Same thing. If you have siblings, going to pull you or tear up your relationship with your brothers and sisters. Is the decision that you are about to make going to give someone else unwanted power or authority over your life? And are the decisions that you are making now robbing you of positive progress and opportunities that you could have in your future? I.e., blessings from the Most High Yah. So I just wanted to take time to share this with you just as a time to reflect. This is a time for me that I'm going back and reflecting, on where I am, right now, today, thinking back on my decision making, throughout my life, throughout this year and recent years, and this is something that you can do too. Remember that Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 says, trust in Yahuwah with all of your heart and lean not unto your own understanding. In all of your ways acknowledge him so that he can direct your paths. Okay? You can't go wrong if you're seeking him out for which direction that he wants you to go, and you're obedient to what he tells you to do. You can never make the wrong decision if you're being obedient to the Most High Yah. Remember, everyone, we must become excellent decision makers. And with that, I will leave you with Shalom.